So if you've never used Photopea before, it's pretty cool. It uses a bunch of different file types. Down at the bottom you can see it says PDF, PSD, AI, that sort of thing. But it can be a little bit intimidating because there's not a lot of instructions. So I'm just going to walk through here really quickly how to open up a file, and we'll get started here on making a t-shirt design. I'm going to go to File and New, and then from here I've got a whole bunch of templates that I can pick. I can also pick over on the left hand side some predefined sizes, but I'm actually just going to type into the width here 2000 pixels by 2000 pixels, and we'll see what happens here. I'm also going to pick 300 dpi, and for my background I'm going to pick transparent. From then I'm just going to click the Create button. So now I've got my palette set up. I love how there's ads over on the right hand side. It's highly distracting. There's like Metamucil ads, barbecue chicken sandwich. I was like, holy moly. It's a wonder I get any work done. And now what I'm going to do is simply go into the left hand side to enter some text. So there's a little text button about 2/3 of the way down the page, and I'm going to click the text tool, and then I'm just going to click inside the actual design, and I'm just going to type a whole bunch of A's just so I can see what I'm typing here, because it comes up as really tiny. I'm going to click Control A to highlight it, and then I'm just going to change the font size. I'm going to make it quite a bit bigger here, and I can just scroll it right up, and I'm actually going to manually type in 300 and make it quite big. Now the font that I'm actually using is a chalk font that's inside of Photopea. So I'm actually not using my own fonts off my computer. I can see the text that I'm using. It's right at the very top. So when I click this little eraser button, we can see all these different fonts that come up. So the font that I'm using here is called Eraser. And then there's a bunch of previews here as well. They have a lot of fonts here, which is really nice. And again, I'm using this online. I'm not using this as part of my computer. So here I'm going to type in the word happy, and then I'll click the little arrow button and I'll move it. Now you can also resize the font as well. If I click on the corner, I could stretch it and make it shortened, fat, whatever it is, and then click Control Z to undo it, or Control Z. Now if I want to lock in the aspect ratio, I'll hold down the Shift key and I'll make this larger. So now I don't really need to type in the actual font size. I can just monkey around with it there. Now I can also duplicate this layer. So over on the right hand side, I'm going to right click and duplicate layer. So now I've got 2 layers. I'll scroll this one down. I'll double click inside of it, and I'll type in the word birthday. Now I've made this font a little bit too big for my palette, so I'm just going to hold down the Shift key and I will shorten it. Shrinky dink it down there. There we go. And we've got it down at the bottom. So now we've got 2 pieces of text. Now I'm going to put an illustration here in the middle. So what I'm going to do is go File, and I'm going to do this Open and Place. It can be actually quite confusing. How do you place a file? Open and Place is what we want to do. So I'm picking my file off of my computer now. It's loading in, and then here's the actual file. Again, I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to lock in that aspect ratio. If you don't hold down the Shift key, then you wind up shrinking it or somehow modifying the design, maybe not exactly the way you want. So I'm just going to hit the Control Z button and get back. There we go. You can also hold down the Control button and you can actually pivot the design. That's a pretty neat feature as well. I'm holding down the Control button and then I'm actually skewing the design. So that's another option as well. And again, if you monkey around with something and you don't like it, just simply click Control Z or Control Z, depending on what country you're in, and it will just simply undo. Okay, so I'm going to shrink this right down. I'm going to put this right in the middle. And I like these little guides that pop up. See, as I move my design around, this little red line is going to pop up. And that's my guide to tell me it's dead center in the middle of the design. I'm actually going to move this down just a tiny bit there. Okay, so this is actually going to be my SVG file. I'm going to sell this now as a digital design. So how do I do that? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is my cake in the middle. I'm going to change that to a vector. So the cake is just an object. It's just a PNG file that I imported off the internet. So when I go up to image to rasterize this, you'll see vectorized bitmap is not active. I can't do anything with that option. So what I need to do first is go over to the right hand side, and where it says the birthday cake layer, I'm going to right click it and I'm going to rasterize. And that just kind of like makes it a true image. Now when I go up to image, I can vectorize the bitmap. Click. Just like that. And it's going to ask me now to okay this. What it's doing is it's tracing the bitmap. So similar to an Inkscape. So I'm going to click OK. And now it's actually become a true vector. Same thing here with the happy and the birthday. I'm going to click on the happy layer and I'm going to click rasterize. That changes it now from true type font into an actual picture. Same thing here with the happy. I'm going to right click it and rasterize. When I go to the happy layer, and I go Image, Vectorize. It's going to ask me, is that what I want to do? I say yes. Same thing here with the birthday layer. I click on the birthday layer, Image, Vectorize Bitmap. It's going to ask me because it's scanning it and it's saying, is that what I want? I say yes. And now I've got it scanned. You can see there how it's blue down at the bottom. Those are the little nodes that are popping up. And now I'm going to export it. I'm going to File, Export as SVG. Now it's going to ask me some options here, and all I can suggest is you may want to click on a couple of these to just see what the output looks like, but I'm just going to leave this as is. Add raster graphics is selected, SVG is selected. The name of it I'm going to change. I'm going to call it Happy Birthday. And you can see here the width and the height are 2000 and 2000. So now I'm going to click the Save button. You can also scroll around in here and you can see what it looks like. It's pretty big, but it gives you a nice high resolution scan of what you're going to be saving. I'm going to click the Save button. Now it's going to come up as a text document when you're saving it. Don't freak out about that. It is an actual vector file, and now I'll click Save. I'm just going to open it up now in Microsoft Explorer, and I'm going to see, here's my SVG file, Happy Birthday. Looks pretty good. I can scroll in, I can scroll out. It's an SVG file. Okay, and I've actually just opened up Inkscape so that I can just double check. I'm clicking on Happy, just going to scroll in. You can see there's all the individual nodes. So this is a vector. I'm going to click on the cake. You can see that is a vector. There's the nodes there. And as I scroll down to birthday, I click on that. And there's a whole bunch of nodes there as well. So you can certainly use Photopea to create SVG files as an Inkscape alternative. It's nice because it's both a graphic designer and an SVG vector designer, which is pretty cool. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough with Photopea. I actually enjoy using it. It's pretty intuitive, but there are a few quirks to it. So hopefully you found this video helpful. And here's another video on how you can supercharge your graphic design skills.